Yo, what's going on, guys? Mr. the Bass Bros here, bringing you a brand new video. And tomorrow we are headed out to Lake Juliette in Juliette, Georgia, and we're gonna try to get on some good bass for you guys. We're gonna be throwing a plethora of different baits. We're gonna be having gonna get some try to get some topwater fish. We'll see. I'm gonna throw a spook around. That's about the only topwater bait I have on. So if they're not on the spook, then I guess oh well. So that's the one top water bait I'm going to try. I got a bunch of different crankbaits. I got a DC-10 on. I got a jerk bait on, a striking jerk bait. I also have another different type of square bill on. Also have a swim jig, and I also have a smaller little swim bait. And let's see what else. I also have my big swim bait that I brought with me as well. So maybe we might get another big swim bait fish. It's a little bit early in the year for it, so the big girls haven't yet quite moved up to where they start sunning in the afternoons and stuff like that. But we'll see. Maybe, just maybe, we might get a big bite on that. My dad actually caught one on the bull shad not too long ago, so we'll see about that. But that's enough for what we're gonna be doing tomorrow. I guess we'll just see you guys out there.
Alright guys, so this video is going to be a little bit different. What I'm actually going to be doing is narrating as these clips are going on. This is going to be the first time I'm doing this kind of thing, so let me know if you guys like it. But I basically wanted to do this because there's a atrocious noise over half of this video due to the fact that there's a crappy minnow bucket running, and just the noise is absolutely awful from the buzzing of that aerator, keeping those minnows alive, because my dad wanted to do some crappie fishing and I was perfectly fine with it. I just didn't even think about the aerator having a bunch of ambient noise coming into the film, so I didn't even think about doing anything to prevent that. But basically what we're doing right now is we're fishing main lake hump early in the morning. It's a really grassy hump. It's about 5 feet or so up on the top of the hump, and we're sitting at about 20 feet of water right now, throwing towards the top. So making long casts over the top of this hump, trying to see if we can find anything. A couple days beforehand, my dad had been using a bull shed, and he actually pulled out a not too bad one, probably about a 3-pounder off of this hump. So we decided we wanted to try it, and basically what I'm doing is I'm using a clear head and sway back spook. And it's not necessarily clear, it has a little bit of blue and goldish tint to it. But the main thing is that if there's small bait around, you want to use that clear spook so it doesn't necessarily have as big of a profile. Whenever it's clear, they can see straight through it, and it kind of disguises how big that spook actually is. So there you can see, not too big of a one there, just kind of a smaller bass. Not too bad to start off the morning. Kind of puts us in a little bit of an idea of what the fish might be doing, what they're feeding on. Not too much wind in the early morning, so usually, in my mind, what I was thinking was with less wind, I would go with something more subtle, such as a spook, and then if the wind picked up, I would switch to something like a buzz bait maybe later on in the day whenever the sun comes up. So as you guys see there, not too big of a fish, but not too bad of a start on that first main lake hump. And then we moved over to a little secondary point that we know we're actually fishing the humps that were completely out of the water. Lake Juliette is about 7 to 8 feet down, and my dad actually caught this good one off of a silver and blue chug bug. Just threw it up there. He saw the fish swirl. He was good and patient, just waited for that fish to eat it. So good thing that he waited on that. And this clip here, we actually moved over to a little roadbed farther back in the creek. As you guys see there, I missed it the very first time it hit. I was stupid by just reacting to it and just trying to set the hook on it. He did not have it good. So he just kind of boiled on it, and I didn't see my spook, so I set the hook, which was a mistake on my part. But as you guys can see here, I got kind of lucky, threw back in there, blew up on it again. He ate it that time. He absolutely choked it. It was pretty awesome. So I actually got the same fish to blow up on it 2 times in a row, so I was pretty happy about that. So boat flip it in here. Nice, good, solid 4-pounder. I believe I weighed it. It was 4 pounds 1 ounce. So pretty nice fish off of that clear spook, as you guys are about to see here. I'm going to show it to the camera, kind of blocking the sun there by putting my body in front of it. But you guys can see how that spook is clear. And we saw a ton of the bait that we were targeting. It was all small, you know. It wasn't anything big and special. A bunch of it was tiny little bait fish, and then the bluegills and perch or whatever was feeding off of it, and the bass were sitting there waiting for those other smaller fish to come up and feed on the bait. So that's basically what we were trying to target here. And then we went to another kind of main lake point type deal here with a little baby secondary point coming off of it. And I had another one blow up on my spook. This is another really good fish. He just didn't blow up on it. The fish weren't necessarily absolutely destroying this spook, but they were trying to suck it down and eat it just basically for an easy meal. And the braid wrapped around the end of my pole here, so I instinctively pulled out whatever else I had, because I wouldn't be able to reel in my spook fast enough to get it back in there. So I had a little swim bait on, so I just put that back in there and swam it across to see if it would hit. Nothing doing. So we moved to another little main lake point with a really good gravel rock type deal off the tip of it, and we saw a bunch of fish schooling out on the main lake. So we kept our eyes on it, watched it in the main lake, and eventually they pushed whatever bait they were feeding on, whatever shad it was, back into this pocket that you guys see here. This was just a really big pocket off of the main lake. And Lake Juliette's really not that big of a lake. It has a 25 horsepower engine limit on it, so you know it kind of restricts you of how fast you can run and how fast you can get to places. But we were sitting here watching these fish blow up on bait, and they just slowly moved back, and eventually they just ended up absolutely erupting everywhere inside of this cove. I guess they just pushed so much bait back in here that they just decided to go all out. And the fall time is notorious for this type of fishing. A bunch of tournaments are won on guys just standing around just waiting for this kind of stuff to happen. Unfortunately enough, it only happened once today, but as you guys can see in the background, you'll be able to see all the fish blowing up everywhere on all the bait. I believe it was just small thread fins. I'm not really sure. Juliette is a big herring lake as well. There's a lot of bluebacks in there. So I'm not sure if they were blowing up on baby bluebacks or if it was thread fins or what, but it was definitely smaller bait. And this school had some bigger fish in it, but it was mainly just full of 1-2 pounders, and that's basically all we ended up catching. There was a ton of fish in the school, and there was actually separate schools that we saw beforehand and afterwards that broke off this main school, and they just travel in packs, and then eventually they just schooled up right here to where they all got in one big group and just started having a field day on all this bait. So you'll see here on this cast all this little bass just blowing up on my spook on the way back in. None of them grabbed it. It's really important whenever you're doing this to be very patient. So make sure you feel the fish on a spook or anything with treble hooks mainly, especially topwater. Make sure you feel that fish before you set the hook. You really don't even need to set the hook that well, and I have a problem with it myself. You really just need to reel into it. So there I lost that fish, which is going to happen. You guys got to be ready to lose fish whenever you're throwing topwater, especially with treble hooks. They're not always going to stay pinned, and that's something that I have a problem with, that I really struggle through. But, I mean, sometimes I'm confident to set the hook whenever I see them visually eat it. Like this fish right here, I saw the fish come up out of the water, had the spook in its mouth, waited for the fish to go down, and then I set the hook on it because I knew it was going to have it in its mouth. I was pretty confident. And another little trick that you guys can do to your topwater baits with treble hooks is on the back treble, you can actually take it and put an extra split ring on there. It gives a little bit more maneuverability as far as where that bait can twist. So here you guys see us moving to this back of this cove. This is actually kind of a feeder cove for one of the bigger coves on Lake Juliette. This isn't necessarily a super big wide open cove. This is a kind of a little skinny deep cove type deal, and the fish had pushed a bunch of bait back here. They were all feeding off of it, so I was just throwing a buzz bait. This is later on in the day. This is after we got done crappie fishing. So you guys are about to be able to just listen to these clips. I'm about to just let it roll through the rest of the way so you guys can go ahead and just listen to the raw footage. But here I got a pretty cool thing going on with a buzzbait, which is pretty cool on Lake Juliette. So go ahead and check this out.
Holy, that's what I'm talking about, baby. You need the net? Yes, sir.
Buzz bait in the afternoon.
Told you, dude. Topwater bite all day. Caught right out. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Topwater bite all day. Woo!
Hey, picture.
Oh well.
What an idiot.
I got to look at this grass bait. That's what it was sitting on. It wasn't that big. 2-pounder. Oh! Back-to-back cast! No way!
Dang.
Back-to-back cast, guys! As soon as it hit the water.
Fire.
As soon as it hit the water, dude.
Wow.
Madness, man.
You saw that thing move too, huh?
No, that's not the same fish. It might be.
Put the power poles down.
Power poles, aka the transducer. I told you I'll catch another one. It's smaller, but another one, guys. I don't need a picture of this one either. I'm talking about, dude. As soon as it hit the water, it was on it. What the heck is wrong with your tanker?
That thing's bent.
Is that the swimming tail one? Yeah. Oh, I got a fish!
That thing just slurped it in, huh?
I don't know. That's a monster!
That's cool.
Jeez. I literally had no idea. That's another grass bed right there. This is really kind of place where you catch big numbers for sure. And these rocky banks like this, almost like shell fall.
Purple. Lame.
Yo, I sent the crap out of it.
Good thing that's a small one.
Oh my
That
god.
was so lame.
Dude, I sent that sucker flying.
Alright, so this next clip is pretty embarrassing. So basically we were fishing in a similar cove, trying to do the same thing, duplicate what we had been doing, and the explosion that you see on the left-hand side of your screen, the bottom left, isn't exactly what I said it was, or thought it was in general, or my dad thought it was. So yeah, you'll see it. It's just kind of a embarrassing type deal. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Dang.
Holy crap.
Oh! Look at my thing.
Is that what that sounded? Dude, that was a gigantic bass.
That's huge.
Oh my god.
If you guys really enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section below whether or not you like this style of video with me narrating what all's going on and trying to give you guys a few extra pointers and tips doing it this way. You know, like kind of not on the water or in the situation. I can kind of look back on it and maybe analyze a little bit more and put some things in there that I missed or didn't even mention in general. So just let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you do. Gonna be trying to go out there and getting some more awesome footage for you guys. Be sure to check out our other social media pages such as our Instagram and our Facebook page, and I really would appreciate it. So you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you guys later.